All right, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Denise Walsh. I'm an Ambassador Diamond with It Works, and this is my favorite time of the week. Monday night. Whoever says Monday night is their favorite time of the week, but here at It Works, I do, because I get to connect with each and every one of you and with material that I am truly, truly passionate about. Last week we talked about overcoming self-doubt and the spiral downwards that can come from having some of that fear-based thinking and taking things personally and getting trapped and thinking it's pervasive, and then maybe it paralyzes you into taking an action. And we talked about how we can recognize those stages in ourselves and maybe even within our teammates, but then more importantly, how to overcome it. We had tons of positive feedback from that call, and hopefully if you did not get to listen to it, check out the recording. All of the web links that we send out actually turn into the recordings automatically afterwards, so you can check it out and listen to the recording. I think one of the reasons why there was such positive feedback is because it's good for people to know that you're not alone. Everybody goes through this, right? Everybody goes through ups and downs in their business, and it's good to know that you have control over moving past or through that specific business season. And so the feedback that I had or that I heard was, oh my gosh, I thought that I was the only one that felt this way. And so it's really powerful to know that this is a business. We all have ups and downs in it. The question is how are you going to move through it? And hopefully you were able to complete some of the homework that we talked about, including answering the following questions of who am I really? Because when we know who we are, we can battle some of that stinking thinking and the personalization that happens. And then the question of what do I want? What do I want? And then how do I stay refueled? And if you have not yet completed that homework from last week, then I challenge you to do so. Because again, it's one thing to hear it, it's another thing to implement it, and the third thing to actually take action and use it. So. And then get with your team, your upline, your downline, your sidelines, and your community, and connect with them about what you've been learning about yourself and your teammates. Because I think, again, we're in business by ourselves, but no, wrong one. We're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves, right? All right, tonight we are going to talk about creating and building a team where your best people thrive. And on the flip side of that, we're going to talk about how to lose your best people, because sometimes that can happen too. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started with, I'm going to start with how to create an atmosphere where our best people thrive, because I am a positive person. I focus on what goes well. I focus on what people are doing well, and I'm going to start there, and then we're going to talk about how to lose your best people on the flip side. So I hope you can take some notes. I want you to draw two triangles on your piece of paper. The first triangle is going to be about creating an atmosphere where people thrive. And then the second triangle is going to be about how to lose your best people. And what you'll find is that they're kind of mirrors of each other. It's really kind of interesting when you take a look at the material. And for those of you that were on the Double Diamond and Above leadership call we did a few weeks ago, this is very similar to what we talked about. So you will be hearing it again. But I think it's important because as a leader of a team, you have influence over a community and a culture more than you really realize. Because if you don't, who does, right? So it's up to you to build and lead your team with intentional influence. Intentional influence. It's not something that just happens, right? It's something that you have to be proactive and pretty loud about, because I think it's normal to slip into negativity. It's normal to slip into stinking thinking. It's normal to focus on what's going wrong. And as a leader, it's our job to be really, really loud about the opposite. So the first side of the triangle. So our job as a leader, as the leader of a team, is to focus on influencing the frame. What does this mean? It means that our job is to help create a community and a frame, a structure where people can thrive. What happens with personal motivation is people get started with this business, and we have to move them from a place of interest to a place of commitment. And I think that these three sides of the triangle will do that. But most people come in with their toe in the water. Have you ever experienced that? They think, well, let me sort of kind of check this out. Maybe it's for me tomorrow. That's kind of how new distributors are sometimes. And it's our job within the first 4 to 6 weeks especially to create good business habits where they're connecting to the community, they're connecting to us, and they're engaged in their business. However, what happens when you're trying something new, no matter what it is that good actions often feel bad. So if you think about that, good actions often feel bad. Distributor or blitzing, which is a good action in this business, can breed anxiety. It can bring fear. It can bring up self-doubt and all these negative emotions. Whereas bad actions in this business, it would be maybe watching TV all night long, right, not calling your leads, often feels good. Isn't that interesting? So as a team, we have to influence the frame where good actions, even though there may still be some fear, anxiety, self-doubt, is connected to good. And bad actions, quote unquote, maybe watching TV or not following up with your leads or not calling somebody back, is connected to something that is bad. How do we do that? The first side of the triangle is your why. Identifying your why. What is important? What are you working towards? And I think as a team in general, we do this well. As a company, we do this well because we want to know, why are you joining this business? Most of us did not get into this business because we were bored. Most of us got into this business for a reason, right? We weren't just sitting around going, oh, I need to add more onto my plate. No, we got into this because we saw something that It Works could fulfill a need. We have a need, whether it was more income, whether it was community, whether it was time with friends, whether it was self-satisfaction, whatever it is, It Works was able to fulfill that need. So one side of the triangle of how to create an atmosphere where people thrive is to help them to connect deep down with their why. So I want you to do this now, because of course we can't lead people down a path we've never been. So what is important to you? What are your aspirations? And then think about this. Let's say you need a new roof. It's going to be, I don't know, how much do roofs cost? Probably like $5,000 to $10,000. But let's say you need a new roof. You take your party cash and you put it into a new roof account. You make it visible. You make it tangible for yourself and for your family. Maybe your goal is to get a pool in the backyard, or maybe it's Christmas money. You set that goal, you set that number, and then you create something tangible. I know some families created a thermometer where they have a Disneyland fund, right? And every time they went to a party, all the party cash or maybe fast start bonuses, whatever it is, went into the Disney World fund, and they got to see the thermometer go up and up and up. Imagine your kids saying, Mom, go to the party tonight. We want to go to Disney World. You know, instead of feeling like you're leaving them, they're feeling like you're helping them, and they're excited about what you're up to. What's your why? And they say if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not strong enough. Your why really does have to be more than just money. And so does your distributor. It's not about making money, because I can tell you that can be fleeting. It's really all about how this can impact your family on a day-to-day basis. Have you asked your distributors what is their why? Why did they join? What are they looking for? What is their personal goal with It Works? I think that when we start here and we connect the good actions of parties and blitzing and Facebook and kind of putting ourselves out there, that certainly can involve fear and self-doubt and a little bit of anxiety. When we can connect that to the value of the why, we have just made that good action feel good, because our why is stronger than any fear or any self-doubt that we ever have. So my question to you is, number one, what is your why? And then the second question is, have you asked your distributors this recently? And if you haven't, why? Go back and do it now. The second part of that triangle, the second side of that triangle, which I think is really an interesting piece of this puzzle that we can influence as well, is building personal skills, building up personal abilities. Think about when you went to work and you started a new job and they said something like, okay, here's a video, just go do it. And you really didn't know what your parameters were, what your goals were, what you didn't really know what you were working towards. You just kind of had to figure it out. I know we've all been there. I know at my job I had to wait till somebody told me I was doing something wrong to really figure out what I was supposed to be doing. And so at It Works, one way that we can avoid this is we can help build up people's skills through practice. This is pretty interesting. In terms of It Works, this means maybe team blitzing days where they see you practice, where they see you talk about blitzing or blitzing somebody, and then they can duplicate that. Maybe it's a roundtable call where you all go through your 30-second commercial, where you talk about overcoming objections and you share and you speak and you hear other people's ideas, and it gives you practice in front of others. However you as a team want to pursue this, I think impacting our personal It Works skill set can really help build personal confidence. So some skills to think about in terms of It Works. We've got stating your why. That's a skill because sometimes we just don't talk about that. So creating a space for talking about that. We've got your 30-second commercial, how to blitz, your party presentation, or how do you explain loyal customers, overcoming objections, how do you explain the wrap, your product presentation. These are all things that you can role play or that you can practice within your team. Small bites with small bites of information. So small little bits with lots of feedback and lots of coaching. It's interesting when you think of creating an atmosphere where people thrive is that the first side of the triangle is they're connected internally. It's like that fire brewing inside. They've connected It Works to a broader goal, whether it's a personal, family, or community goal, or they want to impact the world. They've chosen It Works as the vehicle to do that. Practicing skill sets really impact their personal confidence. I can do this. Because I can tell you most people quit this business without even opening their kit. I know this because they still, I don't know if you ever have this, please tell me I'm not the only one, but I'll have people that I sign up and they won't call me back the next day. Have you ever had that? I hope not, right? I'm hoping you all are 100% recruiters for all of your people work. But for me, it happens where I sign somebody up, they tell me they're going to rock my world, they've done all this training, they are going to be so awesome, and then they don't call me back the next day. Most people quit before they even really get started. And the reason they quit before they get started is because, number one, they don't think that they can do it. They don't feel the personal confidence that this is going to work for them, so they give up before they even try. They would rather stay in a place that they don't like because it's comfortable than grow and change and gain that confidence. And I think that growing skill sets can help impact that personal confidence that we have or that our distributors need. The third side of this triangle is community. And I think, again, we do this really, really well. It's community. It's our Facebook pages. It's our team calls. It's really getting to know upline, downline, sidelines, getting to know people at the heart level. What do they do? How many kids do they have? What is their goal? How can we help? What do they like? And what do they don't like? And what are their strengths? The community involves some social pressure, right? It's kind of true, but competition can be good, especially when we're all working towards the same goal. It's a community where there's love, support, encouragement, no matter what the issues might be, and you're surrounding yourself with coaches. In a sense, I think that creating an environment within the community where people feel heard, known, and loved is an important piece of what we have. So the community, that involves the Facebook pages, that involves roundtable calls or team calls, again, where people get to talk and interact with each other, brainstorm, coming together to brainstorm with each other. It also involves monthly team meetings. Maybe you meet month to month with your local team and you just have fun, and you say, hey, It Works party, or It Works girls hanging out at Applebee's tonight, or maybe it's a team party you do once a month, or maybe it's opportunity meeting where you bring guests, or maybe it's a blitzing Saturday or something where you're hanging out, you're having fun, and you're getting to know each other, you're connected to the community. What's interesting about having these sides of the triangle, the why, the skill set, and the community, is that it often keeps people focused. I recommend putting physical cues around the house, tangible reminders about each one. What is your goal number? Put it in your bathroom, put it on your refrigerator, put it in your car. And then you've got the community text message systems where people are continuously being touched by It Works throughout their day. What systems of community do you have set up for your team? Another one I just touched on was our text messaging system. It's called GroupMe, and you can download it as an app, so that way it doesn't eat your text messages or blow up your phone with messages. And we try to keep these groups small so we can really get to know people, but it's instant communication. It's instant validation. It's instant excitement, and people can really get to know each other through that. In terms of creating an atmosphere where people thrive, it's important that they know, think about this. For those of you that ever played sports or have had kids who play sports, you know what a great coach can do to affect your performance. When you're having a bad day or a bad game, sometimes their words alone can change your game completely. After all, they're the ones who've always believed in you. They've validated you from day one. They've encouraged you to step every step of the way, even if you couldn't run as fast as the other kids or jump as high. Your coach made you believe that your unique skills were just as important as everybody else's. Knowing that you had one person who would never give up on you made you work that much harder. They were loyal to you, and you were loyal to them. Now think about this as an example in terms of leaders in your business. Are you that amazing coach to your teammates? Do you want them to be successful just as much as you want yourself to be? Are you encouraging them and validating them? Are you investing in them and showing your loyalty to create a trusting, loyal relationship? If you're not, then you really could be losing a valuable person, all because you weren't showing them and telling them how valuable they are. If you catch yourself thinking about someone and saying to yourself, man, I'm so lucky to have found Sally on my team, you need to tell them. You should never keep a positive thought about others to yourself. You never know whose day you're going to make, whose business you're going to influence, or whose life you're going to change. Like I said, we have a high turnover rate, and people quit often because of two reasons. Number one, they never got started. They never really got engaged in the system. They stopped responding to calls, texts, Facebooks. Right after they signed up, they never plugged in, and they never connected with anyone. Number two, they didn't feel like they could be successful. And it's our job to show that person how possible success really is. Direct them to the calls with successful leaders. Ask them what you can do to help their journey. Be there for them. Encourage them to go to events. Celebrate their successes and just being a part of the journey. It's about the fun, the friendships, the giving back, and being a part of something bigger. Leading by example is really important as well when we're creating an atmosphere where people thrive. Because if we want our teammates to respect us and stick by our side, then we must be willing to do things that we ask them to do. Remember, leading by example is showing them it's done whenever possible. Get them to come to trainings and events by going yourself. How can you tell others to plug in when you're sitting at home watching TV, right? Go out blitzing and post pictures of videos of you doing it. Show them how simple it is and offer to go with them for the first time. But it's about reaching out and showing your teammates that you want them to learn because you want them to be successful. The idea with this is that you're paving the way. You're not just signing up 5 people and staring at them saying, go do it, guys, go get to work, right? You're paving the way by planning and creating an event where people can come, learn, grow, share, and connect. All right. Let me see my notes on this first, thriving. My favorite triangle, of course, is how to influence and help people become that much more committed. But we all know that some people don't. And some people really aren't ever going to plug in, and that's okay. I think it's our job in the first 4 to 6 weeks to really create habit within our teammates, Because remember, most of the time we're signing up people that we don't know. And so it's our job to create that habit. For example, I make myself call new distributors at least every other day and text them a few times a week and put them up, connect on Facebook. I try to be consistent in my communication, my reaching out in the first 4 to 6 weeks to create and build the relationship. If they're not answering or if they're not responding, then after a while you can only do so much, right? So I really make a habit to have my first 4 to 6 weeks with a new distributor at least be proactive on my end in hopes of gaining the habit on their end. I lead by example. I'm on the calls and then I post about it. I'm blitzing myself and I tell them about it. I'm signing distributors and I tell them about it. I'm leading by example, and the hope is that people will follow in that way. But let's talk about how to lose your best people, because there's kind of two sides of this coin. We can create an environment where people thrive, and we can set up all the right frames and be the right person and help them to see the value of in who they are. Or we can create an environment where we lose our best people. It's kind of like fulfilling versus miserable in terms of our environment. So this is the second triangle we're going to talk about in a minute. The second triangle has 3 sides as well, and you'll see how they kind of match up. But the first side is called, let's say it right, anonymity, anonymity. That's it, anonymity. What this means is that are we interested in getting to know people's story? Are we interested in getting to know people's story? Are we asking them questions? Good people don't leave when they are known. So that's the first side of that triangle. Do people feel heard? Does your team feel like they have a voice? Do they have a place? Is this their home? Can they call us friends? Do they know that we've got their back if something goes wrong? Do we know that if they have a fire and their house burns down, that their at-work family will come and love on them? Do they feel like they have a place where they are known? And this involves getting to know people more than just in business level. This involves really getting to know their hearts. And that's where the small groups within a larger organization really come into play, because you're not going to be known in a voice of 20,000 people. But when you create a small group within your team where people feel heard, known, validated, where they're rising up and stepping out of their comfort zone and trying new things and coming back to report, they're going to feel good about that. Our goal is to create superstars within the smaller organization, and those superstars end up being distributors, executives, and rubies. They're not diamonds, triple diamonds, presidential diamonds. We're raising up leaders every single day by really validating and taking these new distributors and helping them to get to Ruby, or executive and Ruby, and validating them every step of the way. So some ideas for combating this side of the triangle, the anonymity. Being anonymous. How about we say that? Being anonymous, right? So to combat that, we want to recognize. Recognition is huge, especially when in a business like this. Recognizing our diamonds and above, recognizing our new distributors when they gather a loyal customer, when they are plugging into the team, when they are responding. Hey, when you call me back, I'm going to validate you. When you go through your training academy, I'm going to validate you, because that's half the battle, is starting to get plugged in and understand what you have your hands on. You can think of Facebook being loud, not only in the group pages, but also on your Facebook page, tagging your new distributors, welcoming them to the team, tagging them when, throughout their first few weeks, and really engaging them in the process. You can certainly send out physical cards. I think that's a lost art, right? Sending out physical cards when people promote, giving them something exciting to go to the mailbox and be excited about. And then texting. Texting is another instant way to show validation. It's another way for you to say, you know what, you're good at this. I saw the way you handled that response on the team Facebook page, or I saw that you added 4 more loyal customers today and you didn't even have a party. You are good at this. You are good at this because of who you are and creating a place where they're important. And you can only do that when you really get to know them, when you get to know their stories. And some of you are going to say, okay, well, I'd love to do that, but they're not calling me back. I would love to get to know somebody's stories. I would love to validate them, but they're not calling me back. And of course, that happens. And my thought for you is just to move on, in a sense, and continue to sponsor. Continue to sponsor new people, because you will find people that plug in immediately, and you will find people that go, oh my gosh, this business is not hard. When you're working to chase people, this business feels hard. When you find business partners that want to run with you, this business is super fun and super easy. So if you are listening saying, I'd love to be able to do this, but I don't have anybody that is actually calling me back, then keep sponsoring, and marketing will be a whole other topic, but keep sponsoring, because you will find them. I promise you, they are out there, and when you find them, you will know it. So the second side of this next triangle is irrelevance. Irrelevance. Another way to lose your best person is to answer the question, does your job really matter? Are you making a difference? Is your job important and impacting the world? If you think about this one, again, this is connecting It Works and the job that they're doing to a broader picture. This is kind of like connected to that why a little bit. It's that what they're doing matters. And everybody has this type of desire that what they're doing matters. Does your job matter? Are you making an impact on the broader world? Some people love that they get to impact women. I've got a leader who loves that she gets to impact single women, and she looks for single women that she can help, because she knows that's a part of her story, and it just touches her heart, and she knows the power of this business, and she gets so excited about being able to impact single women. I have another leader who loves being able to draw out the dreams within inside of people. We all kind of have dormant sometimes, and so she loves that. She gets to help people become the best version of themselves. And, another leader loves that she can help moms stay at home and still feel like they're going after something, that they've got goals, that they're growing personally. And what is it that, maybe it's being able to use your time to give back in the community by volunteering or by adopting or doing things that you might not normally do. How does It Works matter? And are you making a difference? It's an interesting question to have and to talk about within your teams, because we all know that It Works as a movement, and that we're not going anywhere, and we're planning on making a big impact in this world. But how do you influence that? And then the third side of this triangle is immeasurement. And this kind of connects with the skills immeasurement. How do you know if you're doing a good job? How do you know if you're assessing if you're doing a good job or not? How do we gauge that? And a few thoughts in terms of this. Number one, we know that getting somebody as a loyal customer or a distributor in the computer is certainly a check mark in that box. You're doing a good job when you close the deal. You're doing a good job when you promote. You're doing a good job when you reach your goals. And those are certain things that we can, as a company, say can validate. But what about in between those things, in between executive and diamond? How do you know if you're doing a good job? Well, first, I'd measure what you can control. Measure what you can control. We talked about this last week. Really only focus on what you can do. Not what everybody else can do, but what you can do. So you can talk to 5 to 10 new people a day. You can call people back. You can engage in a fair. You can look at up expos. What are things that you can do to work towards your business every single day? That's the whole feedback, validation piece. We need to know if we're doing a good job. If you're at your job and nobody even tells you that, if you haven't heard good job, or you haven't heard that you were doing it right, or you haven't heard anything over weeks or months, how are you going to feel? I think it's very easy for us to get bored, complacent, and just insecure if we're not told that we're doing a good job or that we're on the right track. So it's important for us as leaders to combat these ways of losing our best people, the animosity, the irrelevance and this immeasurement by helping people identify their why, building personal skills, and really connecting to the broader community. When we can create an environment where people experience success, then all we need is people. And I believe that we have these pieces to the puzzle right now. My question is do you as a team have that? Do you have that community? Do you have that support? Do you have that love? And if you as a leader, be able to create that within your team. If you feel like you don't have leadership, certainly I'm sure there's some breaks in the chain here, and if you feel like your leadership is kind of MIA, or they quit, or they're not proactive in this area, then my thought to you is to be, number one, be the leader that you wish you had. Be the leader that you wish you had, and you will be the leader that your team needs. Because you can start the process over again. There may be a break in the train, and you may not be feeling or experiencing everything that we're talking about right now, but you can start it. And you can create a new atmosphere within your team, especially, where your executives and your rubies are on the road to success because they're feeling empowered. They're feeling confidence of skills, they're connecting with their community, and they know that they're in the right place. All right, one more note before I go. I don't want to forget anything. Let's see. Okay, so we all know that there are going to be people in your business who maybe shouldn't have joined. Again, that's when we say, maybe you should have been a loyal customer if you don't really want to work. But of course, we want anyone on our team we can to get to join, but we all come across teammates who've been excited about when they signed up, people we've been trying to support and motivate, but are really, all they do is give us excuses. If you've had that in your business, please know you are not alone. When you try to help someone over and over and over again, they continue to tell you the same excuse. You need to do a few things. Number one, call them out and say, that sounds like an excuse to me. You can say something like, well, how many people have you wrapped today? Did the wrap work for you? Call them out on that excuse. Or stop wasting your time. And that may sound rude, but at the end of the day, people are either in or they're out. You can't ride the fence for long. And so we want to invest in people who are working, who are excited, who are hungry to make things happen. When you don't invest in these people, you will lose them because they know there is someone else out there who will give them that kind of leadership they're looking for. When you get a runner or even a hint of a runner, you need to be right there ready to sprint with them. You need to check in with them often. Encourage them always and validate, validate, validate. That is how you avoid high turnover rates. Identify their unique skills and encourage them to use them. Send them a card or call them personally when they promote. Tell them how proud you are. This will make them want to stick around and want you as a leader. It will create community within your team, trust in your relationships, and success all around. We are a team that focuses on strengths, community building, and we want a place where people can call home. And it may sound silly, but we don't want to say, hey, who didn't get Fast Start qualified this month? You know, who wants to be around that type of leadership? We want to be, it's kind of like the kindergarten class where you say, thank you so much for raising your hand. Thank you so much for sitting quietly, right? What does everybody do? Oh, they want to sit quietly and raise their hand too because they want to be validated. Thank you so much for being on the call. Thank you so much for interacting. It was awesome to hear your stories. Validate the people that are doing what we know to be business building activities, and other people will either want to follow or they'll fall off. And at the end of the day, that is a personal choice. But I know that when we can create an atmosphere that helps people thrive, then we can avoid losing our best people because they will want to be around us. What's interesting about It Works is that this is a place where people can choose to work or not work, right? This is their business. And so we want to be the type of community and be the place where they want to come back because they feel that love and appreciation and they feel that success. So I'm going to end with one thing. I love my Joel Osteen, or not I don't own them, of course, but I have a Joel Osteen book, and it's called I Declare, and I love reading them because I think that it really impacts my day when I start with in the Word and really focusing on how how I can help other people be the best version of themselves. That's my why. And so this is one of my favorite declarations, and it really connects with what we're talking about right now. It says, I declare that I am a people builder. I will look for opportunities to encourage others to bring out the best in them and to help them accomplish their dreams. I will speak words of faith and victory, affirming them, approving them, letting them know that they are valued. I call out their seeds of greatness, helping them to rise higher and become all that God created them to be. This is my declaration. This is my the material that I have for you today. Next week we are going to be talking about being a magnifier leader versus a diminisher leader, and then the week after we're going to be talking about excitement versus excuses. So stay tuned, Monday night, 10 p.m. calls, and remember this recording or this webcast turns into the recording if anybody needs it. But thank you so much for being on with us tonight, and I look forward to working with you in the future. Bye, guys.